Okay, so what if our entire approach to making AI fair is, well, just fundamentally wrong? We're about to dive into a completely new way of thinking about AI honesty, a way that treats it not as some problem you solve once, but as a skill that has to be learned and relearned constantly. We're trusting AI with these huge, life-changing decisions, everything from who gets a job to who gets a loan. So we work like crazy to build them to be fair. But what if all that hard work has an expiration date? What if the perfect, unbiased AI we build today is actually guaranteed to become the biased AI of tomorrow? To really get why that is, we have to start with this illusion of the perfect AI. It's a really well-intentioned idea, but honestly, it's where our biggest mistake begins. So picture this. A company builds the ultimate AI hiring tool. Let's call it Air Recruiter. They have it rigorously tested, it's certified, it is 100% unbiased. It feels like, finally, the problem of bias in hiring is solved, right? Wrong. And this is the fundamental misunderstanding we all have. That moment of so-called perfection isn't the finish line. It's a trap. Because an AI that's perfect today was built on the world of yesterday, and that makes it inherently dangerous for the world of tomorrow. The whole problem becomes crystal clear when you stop thinking about code and start thinking with a really simple metaphor. What's the difference between a photograph and a film? This one idea, it changes everything.
See, our old approach to AI fairness is just like taking a photograph. It captures one single static moment in time, and we stamp it fair. But the world isn't a snapshot, is it? It's a movie. It's dynamic. It's messy. It's constantly changing. The new approach gets this. It treats fairness like a continuous story that has to adapt frame by frame.
And hey, this isn't just a nice little metaphor. The researchers behind this idea put it perfectly. They point out that our current methods are, and I'm quoting here, static and oblivious to long-term dynamics. In other words, we're asking our AI auditors to judge an entire movie based on one single, fading photograph. It's just never going to work. I mean, just think about it in real terms. The world is always changing, right? Hiring standards from the 1970s are ancient history. Public scandals, like the one with the Compass algorithm, completely shift our understanding of what bias even looks like. New laws get written all the time. So if our very definition of fair is constantly evolving, how can we expect an AI that was trained on a single moment in the past to ever keep up? So an AI that doesn't adapt, one that's just a photograph of a past moment, it's not just outdated. It actually becomes a ticking time bomb of unintentional bias, just waiting to go off as the world moves on without it. Okay, so if the static photograph is the problem, the solution has to be the never-ending movie. But how in the world do you actually build an AI that can direct its own film and stay on the right track? Well, the proposed solution is this really elegant framework called the fair game. The idea is actually pretty simple. Instead of a one-time checkup, you turn fairness into a continuous game that the AI has to play against itself. A game where it has to constantly prove, and more importantly, improve, its own honesty. And this game isn't a solo sport. The best way to visualize it is to think of it like a team. To make this work, you need a fairness team with 3 key players, and each one has a very, very specific job. So here's how the team works. First, you've got the player. That's our main AI, our Air Recruiter out there on the field making decisions. But watching its every single move is the referee, an Auditor AI whose only job is to spot a foul, a hint of bias, and blow the whistle. And when that whistle blows, the coach, a debiaser AI, pulls the player aside for a little chat to correct its technique. Player, referee, coach, over and over. It's a loop that never stops. Now, let's zoom in on the referee's role. It's so important. This Auditor AI isn't allowed to jump in and change the play. Its only job is to be this perfectly impartial observer. It sees a foul, a sign of bias, and it blows the whistle. It simply says, hold on, something's not right here. That alert, that single signal is everything. Because that signal is for the coach. The second that the whistle blows, the debiaser AI steps in. And this isn't about shaming the player or just pointing out the error. This is about active coaching. It literally retrains the player's internal logic. It teaches it why it made a mistake and gives it a whole new set of skills to avoid making that same mistake again. So this constant feedback loop, this little dance between the player, the referee, and the coach, it isn't just some clever trick. It represents a totally fundamental shift in how an AI can actually learn. The engine that's powering this whole game is a concept from AI called reinforcement learning. And the idea is super intuitive. The system gets reward points for becoming fairer, and it gets penalties when it shows bias. This creates this incredibly powerful built-in incentive, not just to be fair, but to get better and better at being fair over time. And that brings us to the really big, monumental takeaway here. We need to stop trying to build fair AIs. It's a dead end. Instead, we have to start building AIs that can learn how to be fair. It's a fundamental shift from a fragile, static thing to a resilient, dynamic system that can grow and adapt. And this whole idea leaves us with a pretty fascinating final thought. This new paradigm of teaching machines to adapt their own values, it isn't just about fairness, is it? I mean, if an AI can truly learn to be fair, what else can we teach it to become? Accountable, transparent, maybe even empathetic? The possibilities are really just beginning to unfold.